When we imagine Victorian food, it is easy to picture grand dining tables and elaborate meals. But most Victorians lived far more ordinary lives. Their meals were practical, simple, and shaped heavily by income and availability.
Welcome to Literally Victorian with your host, Matthew Lee Henson.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Matthew and I'm glad to be with you once again. For many families in the Victorian era, food was not about luxury. It was about consistency. And yet, within those ordinary meals, there existed moments of comfort, ritual, and familiarity that still feel recognisable today. Breakfast for ordinary Victorians was usually modest. Bread was central to daily life, often served with butter, dripping, or jam if it could be afforded. Porridge was common in many households, particularly among working families. Tea also became deeply woven into everyday routine, not simply as a drink, but as part of the structure of the day itself. For some, breakfast needed to be filling enough to sustain long hours of work ahead. Many working people ate simple meals during the day. Bread again appeared regularly, alongside cheese, cold meats, or pies. Portable food mattered. Workers often needed meals that could be carried easily and eaten quickly. Street food also became increasingly common in growing cities. Food stalls sold baked potatoes, pies, shellfish, and hot drinks. They weren't always elegant, but they were efficient. Yet food was not always connected only to work. For ordinary Victorian families, occasional outings became moments of enjoyment, particularly in the countryside or at the seaside. A picnic might include sandwiches, cold meats, fruit, sponge cake, and bottles of lemonade or tea. Nothing especially extravagant, but enough to turn a simple outing into an event. These moments reflected something important about Victorian life. Pleasure often existed in smaller forms, in routine and preparation, in shared time outdoors. The evening meal was often the main meal of the day. Stews and soups were common because they could stretch ingredients further. Potatoes appeared frequently, as did bread. In many homes, meals depended heavily on what was affordable at the time. Fresh meat was not always available regularly, and preservation remained an ongoing concern. Food, therefore, needed to be practical, warming, and sufficient. But despite limitations, Victorian life still included treats. Victorian treats included cakes, jam tarts, biscuits. Children could buy penny sweets from shops and stalls. Tea shops and bakeries also became increasingly popular. Even small luxuries carried importance, not because they were extravagant, but because they interrupted that routine. Of course, food varied greatly depending on class. Wealthier Victorians experienced a variety and abundance that many ordinary families never did. Large dining rooms and multiple courses stood in contrast to simpler meals eaten in smaller homes. Yet for ordinary people, food still carried meaning beyond necessity. Meals structured the day. They created familiarity, routine, and moments where families gathered together. Perhaps what is most interesting about Victorian food is not how different it was, but how familiar parts of it still feel. Bread and tea, packed lunches, cake during outings, simple comforts remain surprisingly recognisable. The details may have changed, but the role food plays in daily life has altered less than we might imagine. Ordinary Victorian meals were rarely luxurious, but they reflected the realities of everyday life, work, routine, family. And within those simple meals were moments of comfort that still feel understandable today. Not because Victorian life was easy, because it certainly wasn't, but because even in more difficult times, people still searched for familiarity, warmth, and small pleasures. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe gave you food for thought. In fact, I believe I can hear the unwrapping of a chocolate cake. Feeling hungry? Until next time, cheerio.